Hey guys, what's up? This is a little video to explain a bit about how you can manage negative emotions and how you can recenter yourself in times of stress. So before we start, let's understand what emotions are and what their use is. Essentially, emotions are just thoughts of the body. So they're things that used to guide our behavior in order to keep us safe and enable us to reproduce. You can imagine if we still relied on our emotions in order to get us through day to day and we didn't have thoughts, we'd probably be something a little bit like a dog. If you're hungry, you eat. If you're tired, you sleep. If you want to play, then you mess around and you play. Unfortunately, this doesn't get us very far in trying to plan our future and understand how we can better get into situations that we like. A really nice way to think about emotions is that your positive emotions are when your needs are being met and your negative emotions are when your needs aren't being met. However, usually we're thinking negative emotions just annoying, frustrating things that get in the way of our relationships, of work, of our dreams, of the person that we want to be. Typically, we're taught that negative emotions that are uncomfortable are bad and that we shouldn't feel them. Whenever we get upset, angry, or sad or guilty about something, we're just bombarded now with social media of people looking amazing and living their best lives. And this kind of sends the wrong message that we should be feeling positive all the time. However, a scientific and evidence-based approach called acceptance and commitment therapy takes a different standpoint, which has its philosophical roots in Eastern philosophies such as Buddhism. It says that an extremely critical part of living a fulfilling and enriched life is actually accepting those negative thoughts and feelings that often feel like they're getting in the way. Mark Manson, in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, puts it perfectly when he says something like, the desire for a more positive experience is inherently a negative experience, and paradoxically, the acceptance of negative experience is inherently a positive experience. This is the essence of the pursuit of happiness. So now you're probably thinking, well, Aaron, how do I accept negative thoughts and feelings? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked. There's two ways that acceptance and commitment therapy says that we can effectively manage our negative thoughts and feelings. They're called expanding and distancing, or you might hear it as acceptance and diffusion. First of all, expanding is about handling the negative emotions that we experience. The process of non-judgmentally creating a space for your negative emotions to be. So you can think of this a little bit like a tiger in a cage. If this tiger has a very, very small cage and it's being squeezed and pushed in, this tiger is probably going to get more and more angry, more and more agitated. But if we make the cage a lot bigger and larger and more spacious for the tiger to be, the tiger's probably going to feel a little bit more comfortable. The same thing is true for our emotions. If we resist our emotions and kind of make that cage smaller and try to fight them, then they're probably going to build up. We can then start getting anxious about being anxious, or angry about being angry, or sad about being sad. Instead, the antidote to this is about creating space and expanding. The way that we do this is firstly through our breath. And there's a couple of reasons that we focus on the breath. It's an extremely powerful tool to enable ourselves to manage thoughts and feelings. It's been scientifically shown that breathing deeply and slowly activates what's called the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is the system within us that calms us down, that relaxes us. If you want, you can take a moment to think about something that triggers you, to elicit an emotion that's uncomfortable. Then you can close your eyes and breathe into that emotion, expanding around it, making the cage bigger for it. What you can also do is non-judgmental labeling. What we're doing here is seeing this emotion as energy in motion, a sensation in our body that we can explore and find and be curious about. So when we feel sadness, when we feel anger or anxiety, what we can do is feel where it is in the body. Has it got a color? Has it got a movement? Has it got a vibration, a shape maybe? Does it move when we observe it? And so in that moment, rather than reacting to it, rather than making judgment about this emotion, what we're doing is creating that space and just noticing it. When we do this, what often happens is that the emotion loses its power it has over controlling our behavior, because the relative space that we have inside of us now is so big that the emotion feels a lot smaller. The second thing refers to something called distancing, which is where we see our mind for what it is. We see our thoughts not as our own, but as something that happens automatically. You might be able to recognize that actually some of the thoughts that you think don't feel like you. You never chose to have negative thoughts or emotions about something. And so where did they come from? These are just things that we've automatically processed as a part of our childhood and as part of our experience of life. And actually, they're things that we don't have to buy into. You don't have to believe what you think. Instead, you can create distance from your mind and actually take a step back and decide whether that's how you want to live your life. That's how you want to react to the situation. If this was exciting to you and you found like you've got some good insights but want to go deeper, deeper, you can check out my website. We can do one-on-one coaching, check out the events that I've got coming up, or the online course that is coming out very, very soon. Good luck with it, and I hope you had an amazing time. Big love.